we are again with another edition of Wizetics Mental Wealth Podcast live here with our King Wize, also known as Washahi in the global world, international community, worldwide community. We here on this November the 9th, 2025, with another edition. Keep it short and sweet, get right into it. So, I was doing a live yesterday. Yeah, I was doing a live yesterday, and I was in my live. I was talking about why an investment in the Wizetics Life-Biz Infrastructure is what it is. I got different tiers of investment, different offers that I provide for my partners, clients, business relationships, whatever. And so, I was just saying why I charge what I charge, based and giving you backing on that. That's what I was just doing on live. I'm just sitting in my living room, on the couch. Just it was on my mind, so I had to kick because people have been contacting me, getting DMs from people and asking questions like, "Yo, Wize, how are you able to charge what you charge? Like, you really are able to charge 25K for coaching and consulting? Like, really?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's the valuation." But that's what I was doing yesterday in the live. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is the poverty of competition. So it's the poverty of competition. And I got some things right here, talking points, and I'm gonna give some elaborations because all of this right here is based off of my 7 pillars, the Wizetics 7 pillars. Everything that I do, everything that I express is expressed through the medium, the vehicle, the lens of the 7 pillars, of Wizetics or Wizetics 7 pillars. And those 7 pillars are based off of the 7 planes of energy. For those who don't understand that, the 7 planes of energy are physical, mental, emotional, will, control, realization, and infinite. And those 7 planes of energy are also associated with like ancient sciences. They go back thousands and thousands of years. And what I've done is just reframed the science into nowadays and simplifying it in a way where you can utilize it and get some benefit here while you live in. So today's topic is the poverty of competition, how underserved communities lose wealth while outsiders build businesses from our blind spots. So I'm just gonna expose how unnecessary competition, ego-driven rivalry, lack of collaboration, and distrust keeps underserved communities divided, while outsiders capitalize on the same market opportunities through organization, ownership, and unity. We don't lack talent, we lack trust. And when trust breaks, opportunity leaks. So people, they compete for attention instead of advancement. They competing for validation instead of valuation. We got barbershops, boutiques, nonprofits, or small agencies in the same block, all competing instead of cross promoting. See, in my mindset mapping, I show individuals how to reprogram how you see the next person. Show you how to see the next person as a partner. That's why I kind of stopped calling, people that I deal with in coaching and in consulting as clients. I'd rather call them partners. They my they they are business partners. It's a value exchange going on. There's a mutual value benefit in that, and it creates a different type of perspective, a different type of psychology, and a different type of alignment in what's going on. You would be surprised how just a mindset shift can alter a lot of things that you experience in your everyday life and your business. See, if I see you winning and I feel threatened, that means I don't understand my assignment yet. So who profits from my division? When local creators don't cooperate, outside investors move in. Real estate developers, franchise owners, corporations. So the data shows that in cities like Charlotte, Atlanta, Chicago, outside corporations use community division to buy low, sell high, and control supply chains. In my strategic structuring, I provide a way for communities without structure to get structured. See, communities without structure, they get structured by someone else. So what I do is I diagnose the situation, and then I provide a prescribed methodology that's based off the 7 pillars, off the Wizetics 7 pillars. Like, look, this is how you can structure the community like this. Because every time we compete where we should collaborate, we create a vacancy, and someone with strategy fills it. I'm going to say that again. Every time we compete where we should collaborate, we create a vacancy. And then someone else, they just should fill it. It's a psychological thing. So the psychological root is scarcity. So a scarcity mindset is rooted in fear. It's fear-based. It's competition from limited access, not limited ability. Just when we don't really understand we are to ourselves, we move from a scarce mentality. It's generational trauma and survival economics. And this is rooted, I would say, if you think back to the era of Reconstruction, for those who understand, after the proclamation, 1860 era, and then we go into the time frame of Reconstruction. And the time frame, you had black money concentrated a certain government style banking system. It was like the Freedom Bank. People lost a lot of money up in that system. So it kind of put fear in them when it comes to like being able to like invest money within ourselves. And then even when you start looking at the different black economic strongholds, which they was calling like Black Wall Streets, and the things that happened to those economic strongholds in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Richmond, Virginia, and Jackson Ward, going down to Durham, North Carolina, going down to Florida, Rosewood, and then with the interstate I-95 coming through. All of those things were a form of economic warfare that caused a lot of black economics to be dispersed. And so a trauma was established during that time frame that's passed down. I'm not going to get too deep into that part right there, but have life operations and understand biz genesis, because you got to be able to balance this personal healing and strategic rebuilding. If 5 people sell the same product on one block, that's not oversaturation. It's opportunity for a co-op, marketing alliance, or shared supplier deal. See, you don't have to compete like that. You got to be able to understand how to integrate systems that allow the entire community to benefit in a way that keeps the dollar circulating within that community. Because you got to think, right? And I'm not pro-black or anti-white. Kind of constantly say that for people. Yet you can have people inside the community setting up their stores, And when I'm saying people inside the community, I'm talking about people that are not living in the community itself. Like you might have uh, some Asians, you might have some Caucasians, you might have whatever other group of people that are not Black Americans inside the community with their stores, with their businesses. And we take our money and patronize with these stores. How many of these stores actually give back into the community when it comes time to, go back to school, or when it comes time for after school programs, or when it comes time for providing any type of funding or sponsorship for sports teams for the children, little league teams, science fairs, scholarships, things of that nature. So, but we still give them their money. But now, if you see a Black person, a Black American, positioning themselves as a business, and then you look at it and you have this competitive look, though. And it's crazy. It's a deep psychology behind that. Nevertheless, when you look at certain case study, you'll see how immigrants, investors, or non-resident entrepreneurs often come in organized. With shared capital, collective buying, community lending circles, and they take advantage of the situation, the vacancy that's there from the lack of us being structured as a community, working towards a common goal, because the root word of community is common, right? See, they focus on ownership and operations, not image or rivalry. Trying to put up an image like, yo, look what I got. Want to be seen as I am the man. I'm the woman. And then it's like unnecessary competition. See, unity translates into leverage, group buying power, real estate control, franchise ownership, community reinvestment. This ties into my pillar of market mastery. See, you understanding how to analyze and dominate your own market before others do. Because they building systems. We building followers. That's why they own the store and we rent the chair. They building systems. We build followers. We building followers. And so they own the store and we rent the chair. See, you got to turn competition into collaboration. You got to form coalitions. So these are some action steps. Like 1, form coalitions. Barbers, artists, consultants, nonprofits, pooling resources. 2, community currency, local loyalty programs, shared marketing budgets. 3, information equity. Teach each other how to register LLCs, access grants, build funnels, and fix credit. 4, joint ventures, split profit, share exposure, build ecosystems instead of empires. This ties into my Wizetics pillar, monetization and scaling. Because collaboration compounds income faster than solo grinding. And then we get into legacy building, ownership over opposition. See, it's not a pity party of just complaining about what's this and what's that or what's not. We're talking about legacy leadership. Real legacy begins when we stop competing for crumbs and start baking the bread. You have to build trust-based economies rooted in respect, structure, and shared accountability. The real wealth isn't what you own alone. It's what your community controls together. So this is really, it's a call to action. Because if you're ready to move from competition to collaboration, then let's connect. My Wizetics Life-Biz coaching program, it helps you structure your life and business to build systems that serve the community and your legacy. So you might say, well, yo, what you doing? You pitching something to me? You trying to sell us something? That's the competitive mind right there. You looking at me from a competitive thought process. So let's get a little bit deeper with that. Before I, close, I want to just get a little bit deeper. Let me get a little bit deeper. So nowadays we have equal access to AI in the form of knowledge-based AI. And one of the most known knowledge-based AI systems is ChatGPT. It's basically a leveled so-called playing field. Now, of course, they got the free version, then you got different paid versions. And then, you get the paid version, you get more access to more data real fast. It's more faster. And, you get a deeper dive into whatever it is that you're looking to get. But you also got to know how to prompt. You got to know what to provide the AI to get the necessary feedback that you're looking for, or to get the necessary information that you're looking for. And then you got to apply the information, because just because you can get some information from ChatGPT can help you write a presentation. It can help you come up with PowerPoint, but you still got to do the commentary. It's just because it put you in a position to show some information that's relevant, that's, in a form of, could be marketing, could be positioning you as a thought leader or a subject matter expert on something. But at the end of the day, you still have to give the commentary. You still have to be able to show how you comprehend what it is and how to execute. So this is where you're still going to separate the real deal from someone who's just coming into the picture masquerading. And it's okay, sometimes people say you gotta fake it till you make it. You have people say stuff like that, right? And I don't knock nobody hustle, whatever you're doing, just strive to do what you do. But when we start talking about sustainability, we're talking about for the long term, legacy leadership. So you can't make it just performing tricks and schemes and scams for a long time. It all comes back on you in some shape or form. That's just the laws of nature. And in my lifetime coming from the block, I understand those methods. Those methods exist in a cutthroat environment. Zero sum type of game. And it bring out of people those type of behaviors. So with us, we exist in a certain condition that it becomes detrimental for the long term. You have certain people who have achieved certain status, economic status. Certain people have achieved certain educational status in the black community. And then they might formulate within their fraternities, their sororities, or what have you, their brotherhoods, their sisterhoods, and then they become gatekeepers of the wealth connection. Meaning that, okay, it might be some people who want to form some type of alliances, or there might be some type of policies, governmental policies, or governmental access to resources. And then you have certain people who get placed in position. They become the gatekeepers. Most of the time, it's individuals who have went through, they went through the academic system of going to college, getting a degree. And usually when you go to college, then this is where you get tapped for, Delta, Alpha, and Kappa, and all these different, brotherhoods and sisterhoods. And I'm not speaking against those things per se. I'm just giving you some facts. They get tapped for these fraternities and sororities, and they rise into their profession. Oh, I'm an accountant. I'm a lawyer. Uh, I'm an engineer. Whatever profession they seek to go into, and then they take on other positions in the market, or they might be politicians. They sitting on this community board. They sitting inside of this financial institution, and so now the gatekeeping begins. And they become the medium between the institutions of white America and those that's in the black communities that's striving to leverage their situation to achieve the basics, food, clothing, and shelter, home ownership, um, having a pathway to establish legacy and things like that. And so these individuals who become gatekeepers, and there's nothing wrong with gatekeeping sometimes. I'm not against gatekeeping. I'm against when it becomes detrimental to the whole. Because where can we really name a strong black community that holistic that is holistically strong, from the education system, the economic system, the political system, the social system, the cultural system, in a community where it's really like when you see other communities like Chinatown, um, you can look at certain Jewish communities, and like everything there is Jewish. If somebody was to blindfold you and drop you off in Chinatown in New York City, you would think you're in China. If you just blindfolded, if somebody just take you there and just drop you off, let you out, and in the middle of the street, you look around, you think you're in China. That's how saturated the environment is with that culture. The same thing in certain Jewish communities. And it's like that in some cases. There's certain Spanish communities as well. When you look around, okay, there's a Spanish community right here. I see, you know, the whole culture right here. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, so now it's like, okay, us as Black Americans, it's that time for us to structure in that way. It's just one of those times, and it's not really nothing to keep like complaining about. Like me, I'm not with all the complaining. I'm just with strategically moving, and I just continue to do what I do from an educational perspective by teaching. And so, let me get into this point right here. The way you get around the competition, because now it's black competition, people black competing against each other. Now it's like you got to become extraordinary amongst the extraordinary. You got to become extraordinary, and then you have to be able to take the benefits of you being extraordinary amongst the extraordinary, and then go back and get things in place for the black community with the young, investing in the education of the young. And I know some people looking at this like, wow, how does this deal with life and business? Like, you're a life and business coach, like business consultant. How are you able to position yourself this way and benefit financially in a way where you can express yourself like this, and still be able to not get what they say blackballed or something like that? See, that's because I'm aligned with the assignment, with my mission. It's bigger than what you can see right before you within your environment. It's a whole world, it's a whole planet, global economy. It's people all over the world that have different aspects of government, different aspects of economics, different aspects of culture. Yet, the great thing about the United States of America is these things have certain portions of it here. And when you provide something that's needed, that's of real value, that's life giving, you become undeniable. It's like, oh, you can't deny it. See, because what happens is you're going to run into some type of problem, and you're going to need a solution that you can't get from ChatGPT, that you can't get from Google, that you can't get from just surfing through the internet, that you can't get just from reading a book. it's certain things that you're going to run into that's a challenging problem, that the only way you will be able to solve it without the other side effects that could be attached to it is to connect with those that's in alignment with the assignment. That's what that means. So this is beyond your ego. This is beyond your opinion, your philosophy. You can have all of that, and that's okay. Everyone is afforded that. But when the real work of nation building, the real work of community building, the real work of people building, and yeah, it calls for a certain knowledge, a certain wisdom, a certain type of understanding. Different piece. Some people have a lot of pieces. So therefore now the connections have to take place in a uniform mobilization, because we've been dealing with this for a very long time. So you have to say what has been working and what has not been working. So I'm gonna give you an example. I've communicated with people inside of, like, I go into banks, I have relationships with bankers, I have relationships with politicians, I have relationships with individuals that's on the street level. These are all different relationships. And what you will find is that the people that are like into the banking, into the politics, they come from more of an academic uh, growth. You know, their knowledge is coming from what they learned in school when they learned the basics in grade school. They went off to college and they got more specialized knowledge, and then now they hold political positions or economic positions. And then you have those that's, I would say, in the street, and they might not have that education from an academic standpoint, but what they do have is a certain experience in how to navigate through hostile environment. And that skill set is something that's useful. So it's now, how do you take that skill set, cultivate that skill set into something that becomes productive and not destructive? Who benefits from that? Who don't benefit from that? So if your job, career is based off of a certain type of circumstances being at play, and if these circumstances are no longer in play, that means your job, your career is in jeopardy. So you need these specific circumstances right here to continue to exist. You need these to continue to exist. Why do you need these to continue to exist? You need these circumstances so that you can continue to prosper in your profession, in your career. So let's say your career is a homicide detective. Yeah, okay, let's say your career is a homicide detective. You need certain things to happen in order for your career, because you want to retire in that career, because you scaling up inside that field. You want to grow to be on another level. You might start off as, right now, I want to be a sergeant, I want to be a captain, I want to be, but you got to solve some crimes. Yet there has to be some crimes for you to solve that fit into that department that you work in, the homicide, the homicide, the part of this homicide. So you need some homicides to take place, because if there's no homicides taking place, there's no need for that department. That department get downsized and it can just become obsolete. It's no longer needed because there's not a demand for this job. So that's the type of things that we face. where you can have situations in place a certain way, normalized a certain way, but created in a way that is considered to be a problem that really is not meant to actually be ever solved. This problem is not meant to be solved. This problem right here is meant to be medicated, meaning that it's addressed here and addressed there, but it's systemic in a manner of a murder takes place, we solve the murder. Good job. Did a great job. A murder take place, you solve the murder. Great job. You're doing a good job. You're such a great homicide detective. You're the best homicide detective. You solving all these murders. You know how to trick people, to tell on people. You know how to, get these things closed. Not a whole lot of cold cases on your watch. That's the type of stuff that can be happening. So I didn't kind of like, what they call it, I didn't like went somewhere else, right, with this. But how it fits into what I'm talking about is it goes back to that competition thing again. And it goes back to job security. So what are we talking about for real? Like how do we really collaborate? How do we really connect on genuine terms and make things happen for the betterment of our communities? Because a lot of shifting has to take place. And so this is why I charge what I charge. This is why, when if you want me to come in on a program board to advocate certain type of things, this is why I begin to set the offer the way that I set it. Because at one time I did these things for free. I listened to. I'm gonna look at this camera right here. Got a camera right here. I got something going on right here. See my camera moving me, so I can go over here and give it to you like this. I can come over here and give it to you like that. But what I'm giving you is that um I did a lot of things for free, and when I say for free, I want to say without any monetary uh, compensation involved. And then even then, when I did begin to, seek compensation, it was modest. And then as I began to get more evolved in my own academics, getting more degrees, which now I'm having to pay to do these things, and I'm like, I'm making myself more valuable in my brand. So therefore, because these things go through what, you making investments. You want to see a return on your investment. So now it has to become where you present yourself with the right type of offer. People can pay or they don't pay. People can use the service, use, the programs, the systems that's been created, that can help you level up from where you at with your organization, with your business, with your position, whatever it is, your leadership position, and all of that, right? You can choose to use it or not. Because what it is you gotta position yourself to be undeniable. Like you can't deny this. Now, do you have, you know, the funds yourself to access? That's something else. And some people want to access certain things. It's like, I'm not here right now. So what I give you certain things that meet you where you at. Go get this book right here, Wizetics. Get the book. Or go through this online course in Wize Network Academy, plan your work the plan. Go through these things, apply these things right here. Get involved in get involved with the group coaching. Now you begin to see little leverage for yourself. You begin to make more money. Bottom line, you make more money for yourself. A little bit more profit, a little bit more added value to yourself. Now reinvest in yourself. reinvest in yourself. Make some traction. You might be working at a job, you get a raise at your job, now you got a side hustle going on, and you taking that money and you putting it into building your brand. Or if you're a career oriented individual, you in your profession, you're a politician, or you're a banker, you're someone or you're an accountant, or you're a director of a nonprofit, you or in some type of executive position of leadership, you need a little bit more insight, a little bit more clarity. You need a strategic thinking partner. Okay, this is how we work together on this, right? This is an investment. It's an investment because what you are doing for yourself, you're seeking to see some type of monetary return for yourself. So what I do is I use my own life experiences, and I've had multiple people form companies. See, a lot of people figure that, I can just form an LLC. I can go online. I can do this paperwork. I can do bylaws. I can do articles of organization. I can do EIN. Okay, great. That's good because you got people who provide those services. I provide those services as well, right? Yet a lot of times people are giving you the basics, and that's okay because you got to start with the basics. Yet people may disguise things as being more than what it really is. So you have somebody say, well, I can show you how to get a credit card with $50,000 credit card, $20,000 credit card with zero APR for 12 months. They tell you that part, right? You got the credit card, 0% APR, got $20,000 credit card, 10,000. You might just get an $8,000 credit card. It's a business credit card though. It don't show up on your personal credit. They showed you how to structure your business profile to get this business credit. But did they show you how to utilize the credit to build your business? Because why? Once you use your credit, you still got to pay that money back. It's not a free money. I don't care if you got $100,000 credit card. It's not free money. Like when people start saying, "Oh, I got an Amex card," so what? You still got to pay it back. So that means you got to be making money so that you can pay it back. But with the zero APR for 12 months or 18 months or some 9 months, whatever, you got to know how to generate more capital from sales. Some people running plays of, well, I'm going to get this credit card over here, then I get that credit card and pay this off with that, paying this off, pay it off with that. Okay, that's a strategy, but how long can you run that play like that? Because he can catch up with you a certain way because you lack in certain discipline. More money, more problems for the one who got a poor mentality. So more money increase more access to you in your addictions, more access to you in your negative habits. There's not more money, more problems for someone who's financially intelligent. He or she know how to take that money and provide more value to people, which will in turn have them be able to make more money. See, they're dealing with system building. Now they done built a system where, okay, I have more money. So now I take this money that I have that's access outside of my regular lifestyle that I need to, keep myself in the way that I want to live. Bottom line, your bills are paid. You got things you want. You got things you need. You got things you need. You got things you want. So now, you got to invest in your brand. Invest in. So everybody not an entrepreneur. So now you got to know what stocks do I invest in? What real estate deal do I put my money in? What type of crypto do I put my money in? You got to put your money in some other place than just hold it in a savings account, put it in a CD, or hold it inside of a shoebox, or then flashing it all out like, oh, we got the bag. You got to put your money in money making vehicles, instruments. Everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur. I definitely understand it because everybody ain't got that type of drive, ambition, and resilience. How to deal with burnout and how to deal with setbacks, how to deal with, yo, there's a problem I got to solve right now. I got to be the one to make sure it's taken care of. See, everybody don't have that. Building a team. Some people have, their money and they just put it in an entrepreneur's hand. Like, I'm gonna invest in you for this. I look for a return on investment, or I might loan you this money for, a percentage return like this. You got some people to do that, but you're gonna have to do some of these things in some shape or form, or all of those things in some shape or form. That's just how it goes. If you want to see yourself build generational wealth and maintain it, that's just how it goes. These are just the basic fundamentals of economics. Going back to the gatekeepers, it's certain people that's in certain positions that they know this stuff, but they're not really out there teaching nobody though. It's certain people that made it in certain places. Like, how many rappers that you see who have became financially successful, financially free, that go around and provide financial literacy? I'm not saying that none, I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying, how many do you see do that? How many sports players that became financially free or just rich, that you see providing this information to the community they came from? Because if I show you how to fish, you can go fish for yourself. But if I got fish and I got to keep giving you fish and you keep coming to me and giving you fish, I just got you under me. But you can become a fisher yourself and go get your own fish and take care of your family. So that's how certain things go. But that's neither here nor there. This is how I see it. At the end of the day, you're trying to rock out with Wize Network Consultancy, Wize Network Academy, Wizetics OS Life-Biz Infrastructure. You want to get in alignment and level up to the next level. No matter what level you're on, there's always a new level because it's constant elevation, and we turning setbacks to structure. It's legacy over luck, right? Stumbling blocks to stepping stones. This is what we offering, and it's just continue to get greater later. I'm not providing any quick fix. It's not any type of scam thing like, oh, like, no, a get rich quick scheme. This is right here. You're going to be putting in some work on yourself first, and then on your business, and holistic approach with systems backing this. Wizetics OS, that's system based. You're talking about automations, smart website, you know, interactive websites. We're talking about automated CRMs. We're talking about um, access to funding from partners that connect on different levels of lending, whether it's credit lines, whether it's real estate deals, whether it's utilizing equipment for collateral, brick and mortar store type of situation where individuals need operational capital. All of that is here. It's a one-stop shop, business in a box. Wizetics OS Life-Biz Infrastructure. We out. Peace.